So biodiversity is important for us all. We all need food, we want clean air, we want water. And without biodiversity, we wouldn't have any of that. We'd be dead. So the science policy interface is all about how does politicians and policymakers understand the science that goes into and underpins the decisions and the direction of policy that they're making. We have a triple planetary crisis: pollution, biodiversity, climate. And if we don't tackle all of those together, then any one of them and the interventions or the changes that we try to make may fail. If we don't get this right, at the most extreme, extinction. Because we depend on biodiversity. And we need to be able to understand that the changes that we make, both in our own lives, but also in global discussions, make a difference. The developing world wants to develop because they want a better lifestyle. That is entirely understandable and entirely acceptable. But perhaps there are opportunities where, by using science, we can try to avoid repeating some of the mistakes of the past. So we've had many years of targets, from the World Conservation Strategy in 1980 to the 2010 biodiversity target of reducing the current rate of loss, to the HE biodiversity targets, which were 2020. And for all of those, we haven't actually been able to meet those targets. And that's probably down to a huge vision, but lack of implementation and a lack of direction. Governments are being asked to put forward national level commitments, but parties then need to go away and implement all of that. And that needs that whole of society and whole of government approach. We need to mainstream biodiversity into all departments. It's not just about the Department of the Environment. This needs to be whole of government and whole of society. So policymakers can't cope with huge reams of scientific information. Some of them aren't trained that way, and they just don't have the time to read it all. So science communication is really important. If you do an academic study and it just stays in an academic journal, it's academically interesting, but it's not going to have a policy impact. Don't just do science communication. Work out how you can provide information that's going to make an impact in order that your work is actually taken notice of and is acted on.